go. Perfect. Oh, really? Okay. Okay. Alright. Now it's just trolling me. There you go. Alright. Go. Hey, Ivan. Sorry about that. I was just trying to prep some stuff behind the scenes. My apologies if I didn't see your message there. How are you doing, my friend? Good, good. Hopefully you had a good weekend. Yeah, pretty good. Hey, Sono, how you doing? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. It was a pretty nice weekend. Got to spend a little time with the family. It's my birthday weekend, so yeah. ate some good food, and got to talk to some family members I haven't seen in a while due to COVID, so that was nice. Hey, that's okay. Makes you look 22. I've reverted back. I went in the time machine. Got my hair a little bit done here. Got a slight shave if I shave a little further. I don't think I'm that young looking from 22. I don't know if I still have my old student ID from way back when. I bet it's big. I bet it's buried somewhere. Yes, totally fresh cut. That's like it takes all of about 10 minutes to do at the Great Clips there. That's cool. Hey, that's not a problem. Nah, that's chill. If you need to do your thing, you need to do your thing. I got no problem with that. Yeah, all I do for my hair these days is just like I just ask for like a number two and just to shave it all over. It just makes it super easy. Like I don't even have to worry. It's like super simple. Okay, that's cool. Feel free to ask me questions, but don't text and drive, please. Don't text and drive. Hey, Gustavo, how are you, man? Yeah, please, please. I don't. No, that's completely unsafe. Hands free is the way to be, please. I know I sound like a PSA, but still, that's good. Gotta be hashtag responsible. Hopefully, you guys got the test done. That's due tomorrow, so hopefully, you guys have gotten a little bit done there. Yeah, pretty good, Gustavo. Had a birthday weekend last weekend, so it was all chill. Got to hang out with the fam. So you thought Wednesday? Wait, did I set it for Wednesday? Oh wait, it is Wednesday. Shoot. All right, I'm an idiot. All right, I thought I'm mixing up my days now. Yeah, it's Wednesday. You're right. It is Wednesday, Gustavo. I'm a total moron. All right. Yeah. Yeah, as long as you just hit save there, Sono, then you'll be good. It's all chill. So yeah, it should be pretty easy. You just have to hit save on the homework and it'll turn in automatically. Senpai. I thought I was sensei. Hey, if I'm senpai, you're kohai. Okay, I'm just gonna go down with that. All right. don't think I don't know my don't think I don't know my words here. Okay. Okay, great. That's good, Gustavo. That's all I ask. Finish the test by Wednesday, 11:59 p.m. And as simple as that. We'll wait for a few more people, see if they come on in here. Oh, good. We got a few more people coming in. Nice. The test won't be for you guys who are in the 16-week class. Your test won't be until oh, when will that be? Yeah, it won't be for another like 3 weeks. So yeah, I'll of course make that announcement for you guys who are in the 16-week class. So oh, if you want to take the practice test, yeah. Yeah, the test is visible. Okay, I just made it for everybody. So, yeah, the test is definitely visible. You just don't have to do it. That's all. Yeah, so, yeah, try the practice test before the actual test, and you get 2 tries on the actual test. So, You all get 2 tries. Everybody gets treated the same. Sono with the notice me senpai moment. You honor us with your generosity. Will the test be visible after Wednesday for the 16-week students? Um, uh, it won't be. It won't be. But I can reopen it if you like. If you want to do it earlier, that's fine. It'll just be like maybe a week after that due date or something. Yeah, I'll figure it out. Something, something, sometime. Pretty much. But yeah, if you want to do it like earlier, Gustavo, yeah, just let me know and I'll open it up for you. I don't got a problem with that. Anybody else got any other questions before we move on for today's stuff? Easy time, easy life. Okay. Get some hand sanitizer. There we go. Alright. Alrighty, let's do this to this, right? Yeah, this should be hard. Okay. Okay, let's get started today. Welcome back to Monday. Hopefully, have a nice weekend. So today, as a reminder, as we've already talked about, Wednesday is when the test is due. Please do it by Wednesday at 11:59. Please. I'll be very happy if you do, if you're in the 8-week class. Okay. Today we are going to be finishing, well, actually starting and finishing chapter 6. Okay, so the first 5 chapters are done and dusted. All right, now we're moving on here to chapter 6, which is nice, a little synopsis about signed numbers. All right, so that's essentially what we're doing here, is just basically saying, all right, what are some signed numbers here and how can we interpret them and how do they not smell, things like that. All right, so let's take a gander here at how we interpret assigned numbers. All right. So for signed numbers here, it's pretty easy. So if we think about how to add or subtract or multiply, divide, it's pretty much what we're going to be focusing on here for the most part. Really not too hard. If you talk about addition of signed numbers here, which is primarily what this part focuses on a little bit, if we take, say, -3, this is actually, let's just say section. If we take, like, say, -3 plus -5, all right? So let's say you had something like this, and you say, okay, well, what's the answer to that? Well, the trick is, there's a big trick to this problem here. If you have 2 negative numbers, so the key is that, here's the trick to the problem here. If you are adding 2 negative numbers, the answer is always negative. So just add the numbers without the negative, and you will find, so just add the numbers without the negative, and I should say tack on the negative at the end. All right. So basically, at the end of the day, all I'm saying is that you have -3 plus -5. And so all you do is, like, if you know it's automatically negative, all right, by default, then you just have to take 3 plus 5, and you have 8, and you just tack on a negative on the front because the answer is always negative. That's pretty much how you do adding assigned numbers. It's really not too hard, as you can clearly tell. So that's the trick for addition in that case. Yeah. Okay. So not too hard, as you can clearly tell. Yay. All right. As we know, also, negative numbers here, more importantly for what we want to be using, negative numbers are more used for, taking away. So if we take away money out of our account, money that doesn't exist, money that maybe we don't have anymore, that would be a negative amount. Or again, cutting something off of something else, that would be a negative amount of some variety. Okay, so we talk about those kind of things. It's not so hard if we talk about that. Just depends on the context and whatnot. But, you get the general gist. Any questions about that? I don't think that's too hard. But we're just going to do some examples straight away. So, any questions at all, guys? No? Okay. No. All right. Just need to make sure things are chill. All right. Okay. All right, next. Let's go ahead and do some word problems here. And let's get it done. Get her done. All right. So let's do some problemos. Okay. All right. Let's start off with something. Nice and simple. Okay. So let's look at number 4. Number 4. Oh yeah. Let's make that bigger. That would be pretty smart. There we go. All right. Number 4. Pedro's checking account contained $489 on June 1st. He then made the following transactions: deposited 150, withdrew 225, withdrew 34, deposited 119, withdrew 365, and deposited 750. What was his new balance after all these transactions? Okay, so can anybody tell me what we got to do here? What do we do? What should we do here if we're trying to figure out how much is in his bank account after everything's said and done? Sorry. What should we do here for this problem? Add and subtract, okay? So what are we adding and what are we subtracting? Because I agree, we're adding and subtracting, I agree. Well, what are we adding and what are we subtracting? Subtracting. Okay, add the deposits, add the deposit, subtract, then subtract the, subtract the withdrawals. Okay, good. Right. So let's put it all together. So 489 to start with, that's what he had. Deposited 150, 119, 750. Okay, that works. Oh, I forgot the 150 there. My bad. what do we get here after the deposits? How much does he have once we add the deposits? We'll subtract the withdrawals after that, but what do you got there after that? $1,508. Okay. All right. And then we're just going to take the 1508 and subtract it out by all the withdrawals. So 225, 34, and 365. Okay. And Gustavo, you got 758 for your final result there? We got 884. So 884 is our final result there. Okay, I got you. Oh, okay. The 758 was without the 750. Okay, okay, I got you. I got you. All right, I see. Okay, good. So he has $884 in his bank account left over to spend it on whatever. Okay, good. Questions about that? All right. All right, let's look at let's take a look at number 8. Okay, so let's go ahead and read off number 8 here at the very bottom. Okay, so quick one. All right, I explained number 7. They talk about number 7. Currents, electrical currents. Electrical trades. Okay, excess energy generated by solar panels can often be sold back to the power company. Over a 6-month period, a household consumed 212, 150, minus 160, minus 178, minus 148, and 135 kilowatt hours of electricity from the power company. What was the net amount of electricity consumed by the household? Okay, so we do want to assign number here as it suggests. All right, the numbers that you can see here are the only thing that matters. All right, so let's go ahead and sorry, I'm covering up the numbers here. All right, let's go ahead and draw it out here. 212 plus 150, and I think plus 135. I'm going to add those together. All right, so you got 7, 9, and 4, so 497 kilowatt hours consumed. I'm going to take that 497. We're going to go ahead and subtract by 160, 178, and 148. And what do we get here? What's our answer here if we subtract? All right, 11. Very good. Nice. So 11 kilowatt hours was our answer here. All right. Good beans. All right. Questions about that? Yeah, that was pretty easy. So really doesn't require too much effort. Nope. Okay. Okay, next. Let's go ahead and go over the next section. All right, section 6.2, which is the subtraction of sign numbers. Okay, well, let's go ahead and, do that thing that we do. All right. A lot of these sections for chapter 6, they go by really fast, so there's not a whole lot in them. All right. Okay. So for subtraction of sign numbers, all we're just want to do here is let's do an example here and we'll talk about the trick behind it. So subtraction of sign numbers can fall underneath two categories. So first example here would be like negative, let's go with negative 3 minus 5. Okay, so if you have negative 3 minus 5, a way you can basically do this problem is to rewrite it in terms of addition. All right, so the trick for this one is to rewrite in terms of addition. Okay, so in this particular case, this can be rewritten as negative 3 plus negative 5. Okay, so you can rewrite it that way. Still gets you the same answer as minus 8. So you go back to the well again, just like we did in the last section. The other example here is, let's say we have negative 4 minus negative 6. Okay, so if we have that here in this case, the trick is for this one is that a negative of a negative is a positive. So a negative of a negative number equals the positive of that number. Okay, so in this case here, we're going to essentially, we'll rewrite the second number as a positive. All right, so we're going to have negative 4 plus 6. Okay, what is negative 4 plus 6? What's that going to be? 2. Okay, good. Correct. Okay, remember sign matters here when you have mixed signs. Okay, so the larger of the two signs is going to be the sign of the number, and then just subtract. So, okay, so that isn't too bad. Again, for most of you have the calculator there, so that's fine. Okay, let's take a look at some problems, and we'll see how it goes. All right. Okay, so they're going to page 395. Okay. All right. So let's look at the number 2. All right. So the highest temperature ever recorded on Earth was 136 degrees Fahrenheit at Libya, North Africa. The coldest was minus 127 degrees Fahrenheit at Vostok in Antarctica. What is the difference in temperature between these two extremes? Okay, so the key word here, as you can see, is the keyword difference. Okay, so we're just trying to find out the difference between 136 degrees Fahrenheit and negative 127 degrees Fahrenheit. So all we're doing here, simply put, is we're just doing 136 minus negative 127, or 136 plus 127. Now that'll net us an answer of 263 degrees Fahrenheit there. Yeah, 263. So that'll equal 263 in that case. So again, what I want to highlight in this problem here, I know I just did the whole thing out here, but I wanted to kind of showcase like, hey, how do you kind of set that up? All right, well that's kind of how you do that. Okay, so they have a temperature there, that's fine. Okay, let's take a look at number 9. All right, let me get that right. Okay. All right, so number 9 says Pacific Roofing was $3,765 in the red at the end of June. At the end of September, they were $8,976 in the red. Did they make or lose money between June and September? How much? So, what does in the red mean in this case? Yeah, in the red means loss. That's right. Okay, that's correct. So, absolutely spot on. So again, that's why we have, that's why we have Black Friday. Like Black Friday means the reason why we call it Black Friday is simply because of this term of in the red or in the black, where retail companies start making money closer to Christmas time, since everybody's buying gifts for their families and stuff. So that's where you originate the term, because typically it's right after Thanksgiving. Everybody's like, I want to buy more things. Like, okay, you can go buy things for Christmas. Fine. So Christmas or whatever religious holiday. So but yeah, that's pretty normal. All right. So how do we want to figure out how much money they lost? So we know for a fact that they lost money. That's what we definitely know for a fact. But how much did they lose? How do we figure that out? How can we do that here? How can we figure out how much money they lost between those 2 months? Well, we know that they were 37.65 in the red, and then they were 89.67. All right, that's fine. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do one modification to that, actually, Ivan. So if we subtract that, that's true. What does that equal? So let's do 89.76 minus 37.65. That's fine. Okay. All right, so that's correct. So this is 52.11. Now, what we do know is that they went from $3,700, right? And they went down by 52.11. So they actually lost an additional $5,211 in their business. All right, Gustavo, you put plus. The thing is that let's just think of it as like a bank account. They were already down 37.65. They didn't add another 89.76. They lost some bit of money to be where their account was minus 89.76. So that's the difference there, is that they didn't pile that on top. They actually just lost from 37.65 to 89.76 like it would be in a bank account. So it won't be like compounded on top of each other necessarily. So just gotta be a little careful about the wording there. All right. Any questions about that? Okay. All right. Let's do one more problem here. Really quick problem though, not a very hard one, but still a quick one. Okay. Let's do this one here. Number 12, automotive trades. During an alignment, the caster angle on a vehicle was adjusted from negative 0.25 degrees to plus 1.75 degrees. What was the amount of the adjustment? All right, quick problem here. What do we get? Hey, that's okay, Miguel. You're all good, buddy. The answer is indeed 2. That's correct. Right? 1.75 minus negative 0.25. Or, again, 1.75 plus 0.25. For that reasoning, negative and negative is positive. So if you're always talking about like, how much wiggle room you got total, yeah, that's a way that you can find that. All right, just wanted to go over that one really quick. So you're like, oh yeah, that's how you get that. All right, next. Okay. All right, this is. All right. So the next section here is going to be multiplication and division of signed numbers. Okay, so let's go over the rules here for multiplication and division. All right, let's go over the multiplication here first. Okay, so the multiplication rules for signed numbers here is pretty simple. We take a positive and say we multiply by a positive. Okay, pretty easy here. Something changed? What changed there, my dude? I'm not sure what you're referring to. I have no idea what you're talking about. You're saying a positive times a negative. That's gonna be negative. Okay, so a positive times a negative will be negative. I'll probably put it over here. Alright. We'll take a negative times a positive. Equals a negative. New glasses. Man, my glass. If I got new glasses, you could clearly tell. That and my glasses are notoriously expensive, so I don't get glasses very often because of that. Negative divided by negative times the negative is going to be a positive. So as we got here for multiplication, let's talk about the rules for division as well. Yeah, my glasses, in all honesty, my glasses are the most expensive thing I ever wear, like every day. Like literally no joke. Positive divided by a positive is positive. Positive divided by a negative equal to a negative. Oh man. You ready? This is how much it cost me for this pair of glasses. You got a negative divided by a negative is a positive. Yeah, 800 bucks, man. 800 bucks for these glasses. Crazy. But I have to get them, so I don't have a choice. Yeah, a math question for me, my dude. Hopefully I can answer for you. When does Corona end? Ah, oh man, it's a good question. Yeah, I've gotten that question actually more and more recently. Is when do you think Corona will end? And I don't know when Corona will definitely end. Of course, nobody knows. But if I were to guess, so here's my estimation. If I were to probably put a logical guess about when you start to possibly see chances of when Corona ends, I would probably put I'd probably put it at next like next August 2021. I don't foresee any students from this class going back to college like on campus unless they absolutely have to until next fall. I absolutely don't see that at all. Like I don't see a path unless they come up with a vaccine pretty soon. But I don't see that on the horizon actually. And it's not to be like depressing and stuff, but it has to be. Yeah, you have to be realistic about it, cause with coronavirus and that the vaccine, you have to test the vaccine to see if it works with as many people as. Look, I have to I have to be honest. That's realistic. Like even at one of my colleges, they pretty much already called off next semester. They're just gonna have all online courses again. Like, and it wouldn't shock me that that wouldn't be the case again for next year as well, until next fall, until you have something that could be provable on a large commercial scale, where you can get the vaccines out to as many people as possible. We have we're still, I think, kind of on the trial end of things. Despite the announcements, we're still really on the trial end of things until you have something solid. So whether this works or that works or this works or that works, it doesn't matter. you know um uh you still have to be cautious before you do decide to do something. So yeah, coronavirus, people say, well, it's not a thing, but i I would beg to differ on that. I think uh i think our good buddy here, I think one of our good buddies here on yeah, probably. Look, here, there's a guy here on Twitch. He's pretty big here on Twitch, and that was Asmongold, and he does like World of Warcraft streams. But he had a really good analogy, a really well put analogy. He's like he's like saying, if I give you a bowl of let me give you a bowl of 100 M&Ms, and I told you that 3 of them will kill you. Would you take it? Would you take one? It's very appropriate. It's a really good metaphor. That's what you get. That's what you have right now, and something that's completely unknown. So, you know, I don't care who we praise. I don't care who we do. What I do know is that it's going to take time to get that, to get something approved, or get something that's going to be safe for people. Okay, the rate may not be 3%, but even if I told you it was 1, would you still take the M&M? It's the same thing. Fair enough. Uh, the rate may not be 3%, okay, 2%, 1%, but heck, even if there's 1% chance, I mean, you still ask the same question. Would you take one M&M if one of them would kill you? Would you take 2 of them? It's the same thing. You'd have more confidence, but you'd be like still a little wary. That's for sure. So you got to be very careful about that. That's 1%. 1% doesn't seem like a lot, but when you have 7.5 billion, I'd eat all the M&Ms and die smiling of chocolate overload. All right, I gotcha. Fair enough. Well, I'll put it this way, my friend. The death rate of all human life is 100%. There you go. But I mean, that's something that's inevitable. But I don't view it that way. I'm just going to live the life I have to do. I have to take pills for life. I don't have a choice in the matter. But, you know, it helps me continue on. So if I need to worry about that, I need to worry about it, but I don't because of that fact. I said, what am I going to do in the interim before that time? I don't know when it happens, but who cares? Right? I don't care. All I care about is what did I do in the interim? Did I do something productive that helped out others? Can I go with few regrets and a smile on my face? I'd be like, if it was the next day, I would be like, yes, yes, I can. I'm comfortable with that. I know. You have a right, that's fine. My assertion has to be grounded in reality. If I told you something, if I told you a lie and I told you false hope, I think that's more of a disservice to you. That's a more of a disservice to you if I told you that. I know. It's a disservice if I gave you false hope and I said, "Wow, it's going to happen at the end of the year. Oh my God, let me hype it up, let me hype it up, let me hype it up," and then at the end, you're just going to get depressed again, but even more so because you were given a false sense of hope. And I'm not about to do that to you. People who talk to you on the real are going to tell you what's real. And I'd rather tell you what's real. Now, I don't do bullshit. I do I do something that I feel would be um, in probability of happening. I don't know what'll happen in the future. I'm not a prognosticator, but what I do know is that yeah, it's realistic to probably put it at next year for sure at this stage, unless something comes out that we're not aware of. But but the one thing that I hope for everybody here is to stay safe and stay healthy. That's what I would like for everyone here, is to stay safe and stay healthy. At no time do I want everybody to live in fear at the same time. That's the last thing I would want people to do. I wouldn't want to let people, have the have it, ruin their lives. You don't need to have that happen either. I'm not letting it ruin my life. So what's your assertion then? Okay. Fair enough. Well, I don't mind. These 4 sections are so small. Like seriously, I'll get through these pretty quick. So I have no problems with like diverting my attention away from doing something else. I know for some of you like this is so boring. Be like, sorry, bro. I gotta do what I gotta do. Fair enough. Like if you guys want to talk about other topics after I'm done, yeah, you guys can say anything you want. There's there's no holds barred about what can be talked about, as long as it's respectful of others. So, I mean, there's some controversial topics maybe I'll kind of shy away from, but for the most part, I think most people are pretty chill. We have a healthy debate. Healthy debate is important. So, thanks, Diego. I don't want you to come in here and be like, yeah, my opinion is shit because he doesn't agree with me. Like, that doesn't make any sense. How are you supposed to have real debate? Good. I want you to believe in that hope. Just as long as it's grounded. That's all. Just as long as it's grounded. Okay, where do I get to? Need to. Oh, okay. Yeah, that one's actually good. All right, let me go ahead and do this one here real quick. There's two of them I want to do here, so let's do this. Number two. Number two says, and this one's a little hard to read, so I'll go ahead and read this off here. It's okay, bro. Nothing wrong with saying your piece. I accept your opinion as always, my friend. In the first 4 months of the year, a certain country had an average monthly trade deficit, a negative quantity, of $16.5 billion. All right. And then there's a little bit more here. Go to the next page. During the final 8 months of the year, the country had an average monthly trade surplus, a positive quantity, of $5.3 billion. What was the overall trade balance for the year? Okay, so either we're up money or we're down money. It just depends. So for the year. So just to give a highlight here real quick. All right, let me put in the proper numbers here. So we were down $16.5 billion. All right. So we're down 16.5 billion for the first 4 months. So first 4 months. And then we're up $5.3 billion for the remaining 8 months. Okay. So let's go ahead and figure out how to do this. Now, as you could probably tell, we're going to take the minus 16.5. Okay. We'll multiply that by 4. And then we're going to add that to the 5.3 billion. And then we're going to multiply that by 8 for the 8 months that we were in trade surplus. All right. Does anybody have an answer for me here? Anybody got an answer for me here? Again, you could use your calculator for this one. Okay. Negative 66 billion, 42.4 billion. Okay. I can go with that. So if you add them together, it's positive, yes. If we add these together, what's our value here? We're gonna get a negative number here for sure. So negative 23.6. Yeah, that's right. All right. So negative 23.6 billion dollars is gonna be our final result there. So we had a trade deficit for that year. Okay. All right. So that one's pretty straightforward. Let's do one more here real quick. Yes. All right. So really fast here for this one is number 6. So positive for the bank. Uh, actually, no, it's not positive for the bank either. At least of how it works in the United States. It's not actually positive for the bank at a trade deficit of minus 23.6 billion. Not the way they do money here. To convert minus 8 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit, you must do the following calculations. So they give us the following calculation here. They plug in minus 8 in here, and they want us to take 9 times negative 8 divided by 5 and add 32. What's the Fahrenheit equivalent of negative 8 degrees Celsius? What do we get here? So 9 times negative 8, divide that by 5, and then add that result to 32. Celsius or Kelvin, yes. We're talking Fahrenheit. We gotta do the old U.S. system here. So you got 9 times negative 8, which is negative 72. And you're gonna get a decimal here for sure. So you get negative 72 divided by 5, and then whatever that answer is, you're gonna add 32 to that. And that's gonna equal something. All right, perfect. 17.6 degrees Fahrenheit is the correct answer. All right. All right, easy peasy. Nice job. All right, questions about that section? Yeah. Honestly, not that bad. All right, not too bad at all. Nope. Okay. Okay. So let's take a look here. I'm going to go to page in the book here if you're following along. We're going to go to page 411. All right, so 411 here. And this last section here in chapter 6 refers to exponents and square roots. Things that you probably have heard before. Shouldn't be too crazy to do. But again, what exactly are square roots? Let's talk about that here really quick. Okay, so again, we're not really focusing on too hard about, finding a just numerical value with the square root. We want to use it in a formula or something that has an appropriate application attached to it, and that's essentially what we're doing there in this case. So as you know here, square roots by itself, let me get the math type guy. Go. Get this going here. There we go. Okay, so the square root of some number a is going to equal some number is going to equal, what does this equal at the end of the day? Well, basically, this basically says, in a sense, we have to ask the same question here. What number squared is going to equal that number a? That's basically what a square root essentially boils down to, is just asking this same question over and over again. All right, what number squared is equal to that number underneath? Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a nice number, though it can be, in all honesty. It certainly can be. So, um, that's pretty much what square roots do. And again, you can work your way backwards. So, for example, here, as you all know, or maybe you guys, some of you know, so here we have, let's say we have the square root of 36. So then the question is that what number squared equals 36? So what number squared is equal to 36? What's that going to be? 6. That's correct. Oh, Miguel, I think you accidentally hit the 1 there. So 6, yes. Okay, so let's say you're not sure. Okay, let's say you're not sure and you're like saying, okay, I don't know what number squares 36. I don't remember. And that's fair. All right, that is definitely fair. So what you could do here in the book on page, and there is a specific page for this. No, that's all good, buddy. No, don't worry about it. Let me just, there's a specific page I want to reference here. There it is. Okay, so page 406. All right, so here they have a little chart here of perfect squares. So with this chart here, you just are working yourself backwards. So as we just saw here, the square root of 36 is equal to 6 squared. Okay, 6 times 6. And it just goes all the way up to 20. Up to 20 is the most common. Usually you don't go past that. So it's actually not hard to memorize this chart once you get used to it. Once you get used to it, though. If you're not used to it, yeah, it's a little tough at first. But there is a definitive pattern, by the way, to get each of the numbers. So, for example here, I already know what 21 squared is going to be. If you look at this chart here, 21 squared will be 441. I don't even have to think about that calculation. I already know that. Next is going to be 484 for 22 squared. So it's actually not too hard to figure out the pattern here. If you want to see the pattern here and how it works, take a look here for just a second. You notice you have 1 and 4, right? So the difference between 1 and 4 is 3. The difference between 4 and 9 is 5. The difference between 9 and 16 is 7. So the difference between the first number and the next number up is going to be 2 more than the previous number. So this is 3, 5, 7, 9, 16 to 25 is 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, and so on and so forth. So if you note the difference here between 361 and 400, well, that's 39. So I know that the next number up will be 41 above 400, and that will be 441. and that will be 21 squared. So that's a pattern that is actually in the perfect squares table. So if I ever forget, I always think back to that little pattern there. That's pretty helpful if you're doing like some mental calculations and stuff if you haven't memorized it. Anyway. Okay. Let's do another one. Let's do the square root of 324. What's the square root of 324? The square root of 324. 18. That's right. So we see 324 here, and we see that's associated with 18 squared. That's right. We have this nice little table. Super helpful. It will indeed be 18. So 18 squared equals 324. Okay. All right. So just showing you some of the basics there. But, of course, let's go ahead and talk about the other half of this, which are exponents. Okay. So as we know, for exponents, let's talk about exponents here. Exponents are pretty simple. We have two parts of an exponent. We did talk about it here in chapter 1, so we know what the parts of the exponent really are. I mean, the square roots are just kind of newish, I guess. So we know that we have, say, 7, and this will be a power squared, so 7 to the second power, for example. And that's reflective of 7 times 7. Okay, so you just multiply 7 2 times. Okay, there you go. If you have, say, 8 to the third power, well, then this is going to equal, I wonder if they have that or not. Do they not? Oh, they do. Okay, I gotta make sure I got that. All right, so 8 times 8 times 8, and then you figure out what that is. All right, the next one I want to show off here is negative 2 to the third power. This is the one I'm actually going to solve. Now, I want to showcase, actually, let me do this squared. Negative 2 squared. Now, if I write down negative 2 squared, right, here's the big difference. Notice that negative 2 is in parentheses. This is a really big deal, actually, surprisingly enough. So what's the key to this is that note the parentheses. Oops. All right. Now, why are those parentheses there very important? Let's take a look. If I were to write out negative 2 squared, that'd be negative 2 times, again, in parentheses, negative 2. As we talked about before, we said, all right, a negative times a negative is going to be a positive. So this is going to be positive 4 because we have negative 2 times negative 2. Two negatives make a positive. However, if I were to look at, say, oops, sorry, didn't mean to do that. If I had negative 2 squared like this, okay, if I had like this without the parentheses, and then this is equal to negative here 2 times 2. That negative you see on the outside is separate than that of the 2 times 2 you see here that you see on the right hand side. So basically you do 2 times 2 first, which is still 4, but in fact this is minus 4 and not positive 4. So that's the key difference there. The key difference here is parentheses make a very large difference in that the sign of the final answer can be different. Okay. Don't forget that signs can easily change as well. If I have, say, minus 2 to the third power. If I have something like that, that's, again, minus 2 times minus 2 What chapter are we on? Oh, that's fine. We are on chapter 6. We're gonna finish up chapter 6 after today. So, um, make sure that you finish the test though. Okay? Test is due on Wednesday. So here we have -2 times -2, which is +4. And then we take +4 times the -2. That'll be -8. Where's that at? That is on, that's on my math lab. Wait, hang on a second. Actually, I have to ask you something here real quick. Okay, all right. If you are part of the 16-week class, the test is not due for you on Wednesday. That will be due for you later. I'll make an announcement for the people in the 16-week class. So you do not have to do the test for Wednesday. Though you can feel free to work on the homework if you please. So the homework won't be due until I announce your test, which won't be for another 2-3 weeks. So you should be good. Okay, yeah, feel free to email me privately, of course. Anytime, okay? Nah, you good, buddy. Alrighty. Let's take a look at some problems here. Let's do it. I mean, it's Math 097. Oh, shoot. Did I not change that? Oh, no, I did. Changed to 097. That's cool. That's cool. Alright. Okay. Let's do a problem here. Can you show us, oh yeah, I can do that, sure. Alright, yeah, we could do that, that's fine. So if we have, delete that. Okay, so if we have, say, -3 to the third without parentheses there, Ivan, then this is going to be -3 times 3 times 3. So you first do the 3 times 3 times 3 part, which if you do that out, 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, and then tack on a negative at the end. This will also be true for -3 to the third. This actually will also be the same answer, but again for different reasons. Because it's -3 times -3 times -3, all in parentheses. Negative times a negative is positive, positive times a negative is negative. So you'll get -27 here. So even though you get the same answer for both of them, again, what matters is the parentheses there. Two different, again, just because technically they are, not technically, but they are two different problems despite arriving at the same result. And you have to use the rule appropriately based on if you see that. Yeah. So the rules are different, because of how it's written, but the result could be the same, certainly. But you saw a case where that's not that doesn't happen, right? So yeah, minus 2 squared with parentheses is 4, but minus 2 squared without parentheses is minus 4. So you get the general gist. Okay, now we do have some of these problems here that basically have to do with PEMDAS, order of operations. You guys should be pretty aware about that. Really quick though, there are a couple of them that I do want to kind of go over, so it's a little bit more clear. The first one is right here. These are going to be kind of quick and simple here. First one is 6 to the 0 power. Anybody tell me what's 6 to the 0 power? What's 6 to the 0 power? Six to the 0 power is what? 0, Gustavo says. All right. 1, Diego says. 1. Okay, so this is kind of like a trap question. This is why I put this down here. So the answer to this is 1. Okay, so it is a trap question. All right, any number to the 0 power, no matter what number it is, it could be a billion. A billion to the 0 power is automatically going to be 1. This is a rule of exponents that's used sometimes. So again, I just want you to be aware of that fact there. It doesn't come up often in the book, but still something that could be potential. Okay, and the other one I want to do is 37. That was the other one. Okay, so 5 times 6 squared minus 4 to the third. So what do we do here first in this problem? What should we do here in this problem first? Exponents, good. That's correct. So there's no parentheses to do. We do the exponents first. All right, so we get 6 squared, which is 36. And if you do 4 to the third power, you'll realize that's going to be 64. Okay, what should we do next? What's the next here? All right, times. All right, so we get 5 times 36. So if you do that out, that's $1.80 minus 64. Okay. And if we do that out, that's going to be 116. All right. So that it's not hard. It's just, again, just little things that you kind of have to get used to again. Now, one more thing in regards to roots here. One more note here regarding roots is that a square root has to be considered this is considered an exponent. So if you want to do square roots, you consider them as like an exponent with the parentheses kind of inside here. So that's how you should be looking at square roots, is where does it rank? It has parentheses on the inside of the root, and then it should be considered exponents after that. So it has 1 on the inside of the root, and then 2 actually doing the root out. Okay, questions about that? Questions. I'm going to do some word problems here, so. Okay, let's do the next page. All right, let's do some word problems. Word problems time. All right. All right. So we're going to give some problems a try here using your calculator. This should strictly be a calculator-based problems, okay? So, just trying to keep it as simple as possible. So let's try this first one, number 4. The resistance in ohms of a certain silicon diode is found using the expression the square root of 15 times 10 to the 6 times 24. Calculates this resistance to the nearest 1,000 ohms. Okay, so this is what we're going to put on the calculator here. All right, so the first thing we want to do here is, if you have a basic calculator, then we're just going to do 15 times 10 to the 6. Now, if you want to figure out 10 to the 6 here first, you can. So 10 to the 6 just has 6 zeros, so that'll be a million. And then times 24. And it's going to be a pretty big number here. But then once you do that, you take the square root of that. So if you hit the square root key on that number there, wherever your square root key is located. My graphing calculator, the square root key is, if really quick here, on my graphing calculator, my square root key is the second key and the x squared key on a TI 84. So the second key and the x squared key there is where you can find that specifically. And does anybody have an answer for me? Okay, very nicely done. That is correct. Nice job, Sono. All right. Okay, nice work. All right, questions about that? Okay. Sure. Okay. Now, let's look at the next one here, which is number 8. So, the length L of a rafter on a shed roof is calculated using the formula L is equal to the square root of h2 minus h1 squared, quantity squared, plus w squared. Suppose that h2, the maximum roof height, is 13 feet, and h1, the minimum wall height, is 7.5 feet, and w, the width of the shed, is 12 feet. Calculate the rafter length, not including allowance for overhang. Round the nearest tenth. All right. So the reason why I chose this problem very specifically because one of the things that we're going to talk about here in this next chapter when it comes to the algebra stuff is, one of the things that we have to understand is that we're just going to we're going to be doing a lot of substitution, and we have to understand at least the context of each individual variable. Although this one is really simple and really easy, okay, it's not hard to see where the numbers go. sometimes in certain problems that you'll see in the next chapter and even chapters beyond that, you need to be really careful about what numbers need to go into which variables, because sometimes the problem isn't worded as clearly as it should be. And so I want to be sure that you are aware about that fact. So when we set up the problem here specifically, we are still going to follow the formula that we're given here. But again, we do want to be cognizant of exactly what each letter represents. Okay, and that's going to be kind of like the big thing here in this case is like, okay, we know it's very clear what each letter represents, but when we look at future problems, we say, okay, what does H1 specifically mean? Oh, H1 is actually the minimum wall height. Okay, then that means and it could be worded very differently, and you just be like, well, I thought this number goes first and this number goes second. No, it depends on context. So okay, so key, understand what each variable means. Okay, so let's plug in our numbers here in this case. H2, which was given our maximum roof height, which was 13, minus H1, which is our height of the minimum height of the shed there, so 7.5 squared, minus the width of the shed, which was 12 squared. Okay, so this is what we have here so far. Oh, that's plus. Oh, sorry, I put minus. Why did I do that? Okay, that's kind of important. All right, so here we get 13 minus 7.5. So that's going to be 5.5 squared plus 12 squared. So we're going to do that on the calculator first. So do 5.5 squared plus 12 squared. Okay, and if we take the square root of that, all right, so it looks like we get 13.2. All right. Okay, and that's our final answer for that. Okay, questions about that? All right, very good. Okay, so that is all of chapter 6. Okay, that's the entirety of chapter 6. You see how fast that kind of went. So yeah, there's not much in chapter 6 that we needed to do, but we'll spend a day on chapter 6 just so you don't get overwhelmed with information. Now for chapter 7, just to let you know here, I see how it is. uh, Now for chapter 7, I'm going to be skimming some parts of chapter 7, so I'm not going to be doing like the entirety one at a time. There's some parts that pretty much meld into one another. It's like, well, I'm not going to spend like, you know, um, you know, 20 minutes on just talking about one thing in one chapter that doesn't have much relevance. So we'll be skip like next class here. We'll be skipping around a little bit, not like a ton, but still a little bit. So you'll see me at parts going a little fast over chapter 7, and then at other parts we'll go a little slower about where I feel that the more important parts are at. Um, and then we'll get right into chapter 8 right after that, so it should be again relatively straightforward at the end of the day. So should be like should be like another week before we get to chapter 8, and then we'll be well on our way to finishing out the book. So all right. Well, if there's no more questions here, well, as promised, if there are no more questions, uh, as promised, I would say I would set aside some time for opinion time. So, is the final and test worth 100 points each? The final, I believe, is worth 150. So, the tests are worth 100 each, though. You can find that on the syllabus there, Gustavo. So this was kind of like the, I guess people wanted to put in opinion time. So I can certainly acquiesce to said request. That is not a problem. Um, yeah, if you guys have things that you'd like to, get off your chest or at least talk about, you just, I'm a, I'm a sounding board for a lot of different things. So feel free to ask. This is kind of like whatever question time, really, at this point for a little bit. So I don't mind what you guys discuss. Am I gonna get the PS5? I don't know if I get the PS5 yet. I'm gonna wait until like a few months after the PS5 comes out, because usually first gen usually kind of screws up a bit. It was like when remember when you had the first gen Xbox and you get the red, you know, the red thing of death, that thing. So yeah, you missed your X. I'm sorry, my man. I'm so sorry. I'm sure she was really good to you. Nice and boxy. Accepted discs. Played games with you. You know, at the same time, you wanted to rage a little bit. You know. GameCube. I used to have a GameCube way back when. Yeah, holy moly! I used to have GameCube. That part is true. Then I tried legal weed yet in Illinois. I have not. So, well, actually, I can't really smoke weed, so it's not good for me. Yeah, that's the entire purpose. You're supposed to make millions off of the taxes. Naturally. Gotta make that bank. Um, you're not gonna see the money back. You actually expected money back? Come on, man. The government don't give you money back outside of taxes, and even then you gotta manipulate it in order to get them to give it back to you. that's some that's some whack stuff right there, man. Significant digits. I will refer you to section 5.1, Miguel, for they talk about significant digits. So I made sure not to put any problems regarding significant digits. I know that in that section, it may, though I'm pretty sure I didn't put anything on the test regarding significant digits. But if I did, then go ahead and reference section 5.1, or you can view an example, and it'll tell you how many significant digits that they're talking about. Why would you ever go to the dispensary? Whoa, you want the potholes to be repaired? You know that ain't happening. This ain't no. This is Chicago. Okay, the Chicagoland area doesn't get potholes fixed. All right. The only time you get potholes is fixed is if you pretty much tell them, "Hey, I'm from Barrington," like you know. Crook County, indeed. Hey, hey, hey. always, always Crook County. It does. It won't change. Like there's inevitabilities that we have to accept. That's one of them. We need a tax to heck and back. That's why a lot of people are moving out. You know. Wait, how would that solve all the problems, my dude? How does that solve the problem? Yeah, but I mean, you could also say look at New York in the 80s, 70s and 80s. It wasn't the best place to be in New York City. I mean, Times Square wasn't remotely close to the place it is today, and crime was very high. You want to eradicate gang life? That's a little tough to do. I'm not sure that that's realistic. If you're going to, the ways of living, not the people. Yeah, in a way, kinda. Like you have to introduce, like in just my opinion, you just have to introduce a new normal. You have to introduce a new normal instead of just trying to, like I guess vilify everyone who's lower class. Like if you give them no outs, then of course they're going to go to the first thing that could make them, you know, make them successful. But it's like how would I put this? The biggest problem is that if you talk about a living death sentence in the United States of America, if we're talking about a living death sentence in the United States of America, it's not actually going to jail. It's actually being charged with a felony. If you're being charged with a felony, forget it. Like you might as well just not rejoin society. Because the moment you get a felony charge on your record and you don't get it expunged or whatever, well then guess what happens? Every time you're going to be asked, hey, do you have a felony on your record for a job? You're going to put yes, and the moment you do, that thing's going to be thrown away and you won't be given a second chance. Like I think that's just like it's absolutely and it could be for something minor too, you know, because it just depends, what you classify as a felony. But I just like, well, now you don't have any outs. Now you try and go and be on the straight and narrow, and unless you got connections, you ain't getting a job, on your own. Yeah, but I would say this. Why, I asked somebody, who lived on the south side, and I asked a plain question. I said, okay, why do these kids drug run? Why do they go and do these sort of things? Why not try and find alternative paths? And she said to me, she's like, simply put, that's just what's normal around their area. Is just that's what you do if you want to go down that road. That's a job opportunity. You see it from the outside from a moralistic point of view, and you say, well, that's not good, but at the same time, it's like to them it's a job opportunity. There are risks involved, certainly, but since it's a normal job opportunity in that area, then you do it. You do what's normal about what's in your area, and then people look down upon it, but you know what, if you live there, then you would understand, and then I understood that maybe my perspective is wrong. Maybe I have to be like, what's the real solution to the problem? The real solution is not to remove the drugs. The real solution is to give more outs for them not to assume that this is a regular job that they should be doing. There are going to be people who fall through the cracks. That's just natural. But but at the very least, they can be successful and possibly, get out of a rough situation. I wish we could support that idea as opposed to just saying let's just remove everything that's bad. Like you can't, because there's always going to be a way to get around it. Always. The moment you create like a law, and people are going to try and find to be an edgelord around it. Like there's no question. Some are more some are hills that you want to die on, and then some are hills that you probably shouldn't even bother. I don't know what you guys think, but you know, yeah, it would still be an issue. That part is true. What would that do? Force gang members to join the military? What does it do? How do, how does what's the benefit of that to join the military? They can learn real tactics. I'm not sure how that's going to help in the long run. Not cause civilian harm. Okay. I guess that's fair. I think that's a very good idea, Lucas. I think putting a structure into the lives and not having like a felony be like a death sentence from society be something that will be like to survive in the real outside the gang world. Just be contributors to society in some form or fashion. I think that's a very good thought. It does depend on the felony. That's right. And I think that what you have to do, I think you're right about that. And I've thought about that. I said, well, maybe you should have certain crimes be lowered from felony to like a misdemeanor, and instead, have serious crimes be more of kind of like a felony status, like, because you have levels of felony, you have levels of misdemeanor, things like that. But at the very least, it won't be. At least it'll be manageable. At least you won't be penalized so harshly having a felony, just a small felony conviction about small things. Like it makes no sense. So I think the bar is just so low. You need to raise it a bit higher about what you want to consider a felony before you subject anybody else to that. There are certain things I agree. Uh, yeah, most of it, yes. Personally, I think it all starts from the very bottom. So I'm not talking about gangs. That's okay. You can use a basic calculator. It'll work the same. You just have more button presses. So I mean, the thing is that I think you could start from the bottom there. No, you don't. It was a suggested calculator, but not one that you're required to have. It's all good. Respect. 100%. Where are we at? Oh, that's not bad. It's about where I'm supposed to be, I think. And that's fine. Oh, really? Sucks. Alright. Okay. Wah, wah. Who are we voting? Thank you. Who are we voting for to solve the problem? Well, I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I mean, you vote for whoever you want. At the end of the day, that's your prerogative. If I told you who to vote for, I don't want to do that. I'm not a guy who's going to tell you who you should vote for or how you should think and what you should feel. I'll give you a fact or I'll hopefully give you evidence or maybe make a statement or whatever, and you can determine your own conclusions and your own opinions based on that. But for me to tell you who you should go for, or this and that and the other thing, with a definitive like, yeah, you have to do this or something like, unless it's pretty crystal clear, more black and white, most of the time it's not. I would rather have you guys, decide for yourself about what's an appropriate way to think. That's for you. Who am I voting for? Uh, well, if I were to vote for, begrudgingly, I'm gonna vote for. I gotta vote for Biden. That's what I gotta vote for, begrudgingly. They're both terrible. So I mean, you're kind of there. It's like you have the, you low key be like, all right, I take the lesser two evils approach because neither of them really do anything for me. No, that's fine. You're more than welcome to ask. But I'll probably just vote for Biden. It's just that uh, it's like the system isn't going to change. You actually have to have comprehensive reform up and down Congress. Nobody likes Congress and nobody likes the presidency. Everybody's at each other's throats, and yeah, it's just bad. It's bad. It's really sad too, because I think about it this way. I'm like, you're an American citizen or you live in America. So when you come here, you have opportunity, you have chances, to have, instead of, you have first world problems, as they like to say. But you know, at the end of the day, you look at the name of the country. It says we're the United States of America. I said, well, if we're the United States of America, what happened to the united part? I mean, how many years has it been, as we whittle down over and over again? You know, I mean, we're nowhere close to being united, and that makes me sad because we're supposed to be a country that is supposed to be um, that is supposed to be together, work together, help each other out, you know, um, you know, see past our differences and work together as a community. And I feel that we moved away from that message and are more about, let's just be in our own echo chambers. Let's focus on hearing the same opinions over and over again. I'd say the same thing, except I made a great deal of money doing nothing with Trump in office. He can articulate a single thought without getting sidetracked. Yeah, if you feel that way about Trump, hey, then vote for Trump. That's cool. Everybody has their reason for voting the way that they do. I'm not here to tell you like, oh, you shouldn't do this, no, you shouldn't do that. Like, nah. If you have a reason, then you have a reason. I know that I remember reading an article about, say Trump supporters, and a lot of the, they interviewed them. That says, they like Trump for various reasons, but a lot of them did also say that they didn't agree with Trump on a lot of issues either. You know, so it wasn't like they supported him 100%. They definitely disagreed with him about how he said certain things or did certain things. And they agreed with him on other things though that they felt that were more important. Okay, and that's fair. You know, maths. Sam says maths. I think you want to say maths. All the homies. No one likes math. All the homies love maths. I see how it is. All of them. All the homies. They love maths. I mean, I don't know where your homies are from. I mean, as far as I know, they could be from anywhere, literally anywhere. I mean, they could be from Swansea. Maybe that's where they're from. I don't know. Just saying. I made a good guess. From well, what's close to Swansea? Norwich. Are you from Norwich or close to Norwich? If I have my geography right, anyway. My geography could easily be wrong since I don't know England that well. I mean, Norwich. I'm just thinking back to my English geography. Yeah, probably, definitely wrong, but still. Colder. Colder. All right, now I gotta look up an English map. All right, now I gotta look up an English map. All right, and I gotta use my knowledge of the Prem a bit. I know you're probably in a smaller town. Let's see here. Let's see here. Yeah, that's pretty cold there. Let's see. How about Birmingham? Birmingham could be Birmingham. It was terrible. I know. Okay, you can blame me. Blame me all you like. I'm awful. Okay, I'm there. It says here's Swansea. Cardiff. Could be Cardiff. Okay, could be Cardiff. All right, I'm getting there. All right, see, I see Swansea here. Now I get it. Could be Cardiff. Maybe you just guessed it. We'll never know. You're right. We will never know. This is true. Maybe it's Cardiff, or maybe could be Gloucester, or Oxford, or Worcester, Northampton. There you go. Where is Greenwich? That's a good question. Where is Greenwich? Uh, oh, not on this map anyway. Let me go find it on the map here. Let's go to Google Maps. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. Google Maps. Go to ah. Well, there's Greenwich, right in the heart of London, according to the map. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Subsection of yeah, subsection of London. I've never been to the UK, so though I'd love to go sometime for sure. Aw, man, it's got to be really cold there out in Bournemouth. And not now. What's the temperatures like out there right now? I mean, it's still yes, that's correct. That's your global standard time there is Greenwich time. Let's see. There's Cardiff. Uh, where is that? Um, where is that? Yes, right. About yeah, we could go to Nailsworth. All right. Yes, I'm gonna guess Nailsworth. All right. Home of home of the Forest Green Rovers. Okay. Go to Nailsworth. That's where it's at. I heard they're building a new ground, so I just don't know when they'll actually get around to it. I see. There's always weird names. I mean, the U.S. has their own share of weird names too. So there's Zizix in California. ZZYZX. Zizix. That's a name of a city. Yeah. It's real. What the heck? Okay. Ay, ay, ay. Um, what is that? You gotta subtract 32. You get 81. No, not 81. You get 71. So approximately 35 if I'm just doing it off the top of my head. I'm just doing it the approximation. It's like 35, 36. All right. Okay, I gotta call my friend. That's what I gotta do. All right. Okie dokie. Fanoki. Yeah, but that's approximately. I say approximately. I don't say exact. Oh, actually, maybe it's like 34, 35. Actually, I take that back. Because I have to factor in that. Um, hmm. I want to say that's close to. Actually, I'll take that back. I want to say that's. But I have it backwards in my head. Maybe I do. Maybe I have it backwards in my head. Hmm. Now I'm kind of curious. Oh yeah, it would be 40. That's true. I was thinking about it backwards. I was doing it divided by 2 instead of the other way around. That was my fault. I ain't perfect. I never said I was. For me to say, yeah, oh, man, I know all the maths all the time. Come on now. That would be a lie too. All right, everybody. I'm going to end off here for today. I wish you all, I want to thank you all very much for coming out to the stream here today. I will be back here tomorrow for another few classes for sure, but I'll be back here for 097 on Wednesday. All right, so I'll be back there. Uh, and yet, that is why mental math is still important. You make the monies with the mental math instead of the googs. You make more money, not less money with Google. Google, you make a little less than you do with the mental stuff. But that's to be debated on whichever place you're actually working at. So, all right, everybody. Thanks very much again. I hope everybody has a very safe and wonderful night. All right. I will see you all again very soon, either tomorrow or in a couple days from now. All right. Have a great one. Enjoy yourself. All right. And we will see you later. Take care. All right.